This video is brought to you by CampfireShop.com. Support my research and productions by buying exclusive candles, teas, herbal supplements, and more at CampfireShop.com. You know that I've always been interested in John Lennon's home that he owned called Tittenhurst Park.
Yes.
And it was a beautiful estate. And it had these incredible gardens, 72 acres. They didn't call it an arboretum, they called it a museum of trees. Because the gentleman who owned it in the 1800s, he brought in trees from all over the world. You had trees from Greece and San Francisco and Colorado. They're in England. And maybe some of these trees might be a dime a dozen today, but they sure weren't in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think, I'm always interested in design psychology. I'm interested in how creative people live and work because I'm always interested to know how they've been inspired by their surroundings. George Harrison, as you may know, owned a beautiful estate called Friar Park.
Oh,
And
yes.
you've got this deep, beautiful, dark wood. And you have these phrases and sayings and jokes carved into the wood and around the garden. And so I was always interested in how John and Yoko chose to decorate Tittenhurst Park. It made me wonder, John Lennon and Yoko Ono were so incredibly sharp and smart and creative that they didn't seem to need external stimuli. That the things that they could speak off, from memory and things that they're interested in. Whereas a lot of writers, when they're stuck on what to do, they're looking around, they're trying to find things. And it's interesting that when I saw photos of John and Yoko's apartment in the Dakota, they decorated in a similar way. There's very simple, basic, white. And I'm wondering how many people that you have interacted in your life have chosen that sort of decor, and have you ever thought about why they chose that?
First, I've met no one else who elected to decorate homes in what is referred to in Japanese as shibui, which is a form of very sparse, simple architectural creations, placements of just a few objects. Never met anybody. I think, and of course I never had the pleasure of visiting Tittenhurst. I didn't meet John until just a few weeks after he released Imagine. The Dakota emulated Tittenhurst Park in terms of its whiteness. What we call a living room, the main room in the house, had a little bronze plaque on the door that said white room. And that's how we referred to it. It was an all-white room, white ceilings and walls, a white couch, the white piano, just very sparse. It, of course, allowed for the focus in the room to be on the people who occupied the room, as opposed to be distracted by a wall of 56 gold records, let's say, or 400 paintings. That was not what it was about. I sometimes interpreted the whiteness that they used on their billboards, that they used, let's say, in albums, like the White Album, as being virginal in the sense that it was new, it was an awakening, and it expressed the innocence that they brought to their relationship. The Dakota, I'm not talking about the entire building, I'm talking about their apartment, had that feel throughout it. There was very little busyness going on, which is a reason that they created Studio One, their office space, in a completely different apartment on the first floor, which was stacked with floor-to-ceiling file cabinets and a small staff and Yoko's private office, and tons of things going on all the time. It was like entering a completely different space. But being in any room of the primary residence, 72, was unlike anything I had ever seen before.
Let's talk about the number 9. How important was it for John and Yoko that they chose apartment number 72, that when you add the 7 and the 2 together, it's the number 9. Was that part of their decisioning to choose that
Yes,
apartment?
yes. It was an incredibly inviting invitation. You can read in other sources, in other ways, how the number 9 figured so largely in John Lennon's life. And you could probably list 10 examples of that. Yoko, of course, was a big follower of numerology, where these numbers have meanings that go far beyond coincidence. It's almost as if certain numbers pick you.
It's interesting, Elliot, because it was not popular at the time. It's something that I believe started gaining popularity probably within the last 10 or 15 years. But there's a lot of people, especially in Silicon Valley, who are believe that we live in a computer simulation. That doesn't mean there's no religion. It doesn't mean there is no God. A lot of the belief is that we, perhaps, are in the future right now and programming our life. And you see things like that, and you can kind of make it fit into that template as well, that the number 9 did seem to follow John Lennon over the course of his life. And it really is fascinating. We could all look for things like that, right? We all want to try to, like seeing faces, right? You see faces in a mop, you see faces in the clouds. But the number 9 consistently followed John Lennon. And it is fascinating that they happened to come across apartment number 72 and that it fits so well into the direction that they wanted their life to go.
I don't know much about the trappings of Silicon Valley and how the numbers play among the people who, live in that experience. Sean Ono Lennon knows a lot about that stuff. And I am a believer in matters of a spiritual nature, and I consider numerology to be under that umbrella. So I come at it more from a mystical point of view than assignment by the numbers.
Sure.
I think it all comes from God.
Elliot, you spent a lot of time in John and Yoko's bedroom. I know that sounds strange to people who aren't as familiar with your story, but it was friendship and it was talking, and you and John would speak, and when Yoko would fall asleep, you would lower your voices and speak a little softer, and then she would wake up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but their bedroom faced West 72nd Street. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know why they would choose that bedroom versus a big, beautiful bedroom overlooking Central Park?
No, I never thought of that.
I can't imagine the view was particularly well. I don't know. I guess you could see a part of Central Park from the windows, right? Because
Yes, one window looked down toward Midtown Manhattan. Another window looked directly at Central Park West, at Central Park.
So, what did you think of that excerpt of my interview with Elliot Mintz? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos like this. You can support my productions through the links below and visit campfireshop.com for exclusive candles, teas, herbal supplements, and more. Join my channel or Patreon for exclusive walk-in tours, and leave a super thanks in the comments below. Kindly be kind to all living things and adopt your pets from your local shelter. They'll be grateful, and so will you. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.